What's going on, everybody?
Hey, welcome back.
Ministry Talks Podcast, Episode 5, Season 6.
Go Hawks.
That's right.
It's a Monday. It's game day.
We're going to win.
Got our stuff on. Man, I hope so. We're playing the New York Giants. New York Giants.
We just need to stop Saquon. If we can contain the run,
look, I agree.
We'll be fine. I'm not a football coach.
I agree.
I do have 2 fantasy football teams that I'm overseeing.
Like you got time for fantasy football.
I do somehow, some way between school, work,
make it work.
But that's my guilty pleasure. I have 2 fantasy football teams, and it's ruined me because I'll root for the Seahawks, and as I'm a Marshawn Lynch fan for life. Mm-hmm. But as a matter of fact, I do have Saquon on my team. So
you're gonna want him to run for your
score just enough points to make me win, but do terrible enough where the Seahawks can win. Do you see my problem?
There's a lot of problem with that. We'll talk about that offline.
Episode 5, Season 6. Should pastors have a side hustle?
Another word for side hustle, side income, alternate income, any of those types of things. Sure. But yes, side hustle, because that's actually a very hot topic right now in life.
Yeah.
But also it's crept its way into Christianity. It's crept its way into ministry and into, if you're a business owner, how many businesses can you run and own and all this other stuff. So, yeah.
I mean, one, if you've been rocking with us for a long time, welcome back. If this is your first time, we love you. We're so glad that you're here. All of the information and details are going to be in the description below, but we wanted to get right into this because, yes, Pastor Wes, you're right. This has been a hot topic over the last couple of years.
Correct.
I can't pinpoint if it's been 5 years, 8 years, 3 years, but I'm going to start with it right now that I am living in faith to our church's obedience to give.
Correct.
That is how I get my money. That is how I am paid. I work for the church full time. That is where I get my income to pay my bills, to support my family, to do all the things I need to do.
Your main source of income.
But I have thought, like, what else can I do? On the side or side hustle or have another, income, people don't realize that. People are like, well, the church just wants my money. We've talked about that before in an episode. Must be nice. we talked about that. But let's be honest. I am living in faith on your obedience. Well, what does that mean? Well, the Bible talks about tithing. People hate when the pastors start talking about money or talking about tithing. Mm-hmm. But what you don't realize is that how do we turn the lights on? How does the water run? If you want our church to be maintained, well, we've got a maintenance staff there, Yep. If you want to have a youth ministry, well, now not every church does it, but, our church does, where I do have a youth ministry and it comes with a budget. It's not a big budget, but it's enough for me to be able to make sure that our kids are having a good time, a fun time. We go to summer camp, all these things. Mm-hmm. And so I'm showing up.
It all takes money, man.
It all takes money. The lights don't turn on themselves.
That's right.
The toilets aren't going to clean themselves. So there's things that
might be some way you can make money. Make a self-cleaning toilet.
Make a self.
Anyway,
but I think that you are correct by saying yes. And I think it does a couple things. I think it also allows the congregation to see, man, my pastor's willing to work. My pastor's willing to put in the grunt work.
Yep.
So now, and I hate to even sound like this, but now it's like, man, I'm going to give because I see how my pastor works. He's not just out here asking for handouts. He's out here, and I see you do this all the time. If the church needs to be remodeled, well, guess what we about to do? We about to remodel.
I'm about to, get my hands dirty.
I'm about to load up this truck. We're going to bring in paint. We're going to put the tarp down. We're going to do what it is we need to do. Oh, you thought that I was going to bring in people to do it? Now, if you're able to do it and bring people in and contract them, by all means, that's a blessing.
Right.
But if not, if I'm asking you to do something, hey, we're doing this together. We're tearing these chairs down. We're turning this around. But Pastor West, why is it important for a pastor to have another source of income?
A couple different reasons, in my opinion. I think I alluded to this in one of our other episodes. I really think that because mainstream church here in America is experiencing a shortage of people, right? There's not as many people going to church. And if we follow those trended numbers, there's also not as many people who are giving to churches either. And so at any given time, a church with about 25 to 30% of their people giving, that's a really blessed church.
Yeah.
25 to 30% of their people giving. I mean, that's a big blessing.
Yeah, that is.
And I have been fortunate enough, and I'm just going to say this like it is, I've been fortunate enough to be able to have a full-time salary in ministry for the last almost 10 to 13 years.
Wow.
I have worked side jobs while my first senior pastorate. We went to the we went to the offering interview meeting. They were going to offer us the job.
Yeah.
And we show up at the church, and then we're told, "Oh, we need to go to so and so's house because the lights aren't coming on." We found out later on that the lights had actually been shut off because the bill wasn't paid. Wow. But we felt like God told us to take that church anyway. So we did. And then within the first, year-ish, maybe a little short of a year, I stopped taking a salary completely. I was like, we can't afford me. And so I went and worked a side job and also did all of my ministry stuff for free for about a year. Mm-hmm. And then as things progressed and as we got better and as we paid off debts, the church's debts, not my debts.
Right.
The church's debts. Then I was able to actually, start making some money. But that means that I didn't stop my side job. I still kept that money coming in because I knew that, I had 3 babies at that time.
Yeah.
Right. And babies, I had 3 kids at the time that we had a decent rent on a house. It was like the most rent we've ever paid for a house then. And,
right.
And so, a side income, an extra stream of income, is always welcome. Here in the Seattle area, here in the, Renton, Seattle to Tacoma, this Northwest area,
in the Northwest,
in this high city populated area, you can almost not make it unless you have 2 incomes.
And so when we talk, okay, so like if you're a business owner and you're overseeing a company for, okay, let me just say it. Post-pandemic, a lot of businesses decided not to go back into buildings.
Right.
They're working from home. They meet quarterly, if not monthly, somewhere together.
Right.
But they've decided, wow, we can effectively do this job online, emails, check-ins, instead of paying the overhead. Now, I believe, and I could be wrong by saying this, but I have an idea I could be right. They've decided to put that money back into maybe their employees. Now you're working from home. Now you got a bigger bump in your pay. Now they're able to do some things a little bit more differently within the company. So even for a business owner, like, are you stewarding over what's been given to you, right?
Correct.
Because we allude to this all the time. Are you being faithful with what's been given to you? Faithful with little, trusted with much. But I think that for a pastor, and I'm seeing a trend right now, and I'm not calling anybody out. I think it's kind of dope. I've thought about it, but I just don't know if I really can do it.
I don't think you can fit anything else in your schedule.
No, I can't.
Not while you're in school.
Yeah, I have way too much going on. Like I'm just gonna be honest. I'm a dad of 3. I pastor, I'm a husband, and I'm in school.
And a student.
So that means like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday study, Thursday I've got homework. It's a whole 9. I'm up till sometimes 1 a.m. and I'm back up at 5 for prayer, whatever. Anyways.
Right.
But I hear and I see a lot of pastors getting into real estate. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that avenue is great because you're still in the people business. And if you're pastoring people are always moving. I think it's something that goes well. But what are some, I guess, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this and then we'll thank our sponsor.
Okay. What
should a pastor be doing, or what are other things that pastors could be doing outside of receiving payment from the church? I'm
going to start the answer by saying this. We should use what we currently do to create resources for others who need what we have. And that generates a little bit of income. It's a trickle. It's not a river. It's a trickle, but it's something. Let's put our natural, what we already do, who we already are, to use further than what we're currently doing. With that, let's thank our sponsor.
I almost threw my pen at you.
Hey, we just want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's show. You guys know that we drink coffee on this show all the time, and so it would be just perfect for our very first sponsor to be a coffee company. That's right. Beansforgiving.com. Beansforgiving.com. It's an extraordinary coffee with an extraordinary cause. Their signature blend is right here on the table, Sweet Jesus. We've been drinking that pretty much this whole season. He has 3 or 4 other blends that are fantastic. Beansforgiving.com. Extraordinary coffee with an extraordinary cause. You can find it online, beansforgiving.com. If you buy one, you give it, you enjoy. And here's the thing. 100% of the proceeds of the purchase of this coffee go to a nonprofit organization of your choice. That's right, a nonprofit organization of your choice. So not only do they not really make a lot of money on this, they support nonprofit organizations out there. They are also supporting this podcast by just giving us some coffee. So we want to make sure that we say thank you to Mr. Tony. Thank you for Beans for Giving, the company, beansforgiving.com. And so go check them out. And again, we receive nothing from your purchases, but I do have to tell you, it's good coffee with or without a little cream or sugar. It's great coffee by itself. So again, thank you to beansforgiving.com.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Beans for Giving.
Sweet Jesus. Actually, we've been drinking Humble Bean lately, which is fantastic. I'm going to try and get Mr. Tony to grab us a pound of Evoking Eve. That'll be good. That'll be good.
That's such a name.
I know. It's going to be fantastic.
Evoking Eve.
I think for season 7, we're going to be drinking Evoking Eve. So
that is such a name.
Or I'm gonna shout out to Ephraim out at Boom Boona. Maybe we'll be drinking some Boom Boona. So
I love Boom Boona.
I love Boom Boona.
I almost threw my pen at you because the way you ended before our break was amazing and it was wise. Can you pick back up where you left off?
Okay, so you asked what should pastors be doing, and here's my rebuttal to the real estate thing. If you can pass the test, then go for it. I mean, being a real estate agent is hard, man.
My wife could do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of my really good friends is a real estate agent, Miss Jen Thompson. Shout out Jen Thompson.
Hi, Miss Jen.
Fantastic. She helped us buy both of our houses.
Yeah.
Like the woman just knows her stuff, but she's been in it for 15 years, 13, 15 years, something like that. And but you got to know the stuff. And not every pastor has and I'm sorry if I'm speaking for you, I don't mean to, but this is my understanding. Not every pastor has the time to study for that test, the people skills to hang with enough people to do real estate, because there are some jerks when you're dealing with house buying and house selling. And okay.
Yeah, you're telling the truth.
All right. And then 3, maybe you just don't have enough brain power.
You don't have the bandwidth.
Right. That's what really I was looking for, the bandwidth.
Because I know a guy who tried to do real estate.
It's just so hard.
But I don't think he had the bandwidth to do it. I think everybody else around him was doing it, but I don't think he could hack it.
But you know what a pastor can do?
What?
A pastor can turn one of his series that he's preached on into a mini series on paper. Get those videos transcribed into paper, add a couple of questions and turn it into a Bible study. It's a PDF. Put it on, I don't know, you can put it on Google Docs for all I care and sell it off for a couple bucks. You can go to Etsy, or not Etsy, Amazon. Etsy, eBay, Amazon, all of those. None of those are sponsors, by the way. You can do all of those.
We're welcome to it.
All of those, and put your document out there. You create it one time. You sell it for $5, $10, $7, $14. I don't care, whatever it is. And just let the money trickle in, because somebody needs what you have. If you can put it on paper, and I forget the scripture. There's a scripture in blessed are, oh shoot, I gotta find it. Blessed are the ones who bring the good news. No, it's not the gospel, like the feet of the good news. Yeah. It's basically, and this is the King James Version. Blessed are those who actually will bring the gospel to those who can't hear it, or to those who need it. Shoot, I'm going to have to get it. I'll put it down in the description. But the reality is you're already doing something. And capitalize on what you're doing. Do it again for a different crowd.
I think about life coaches.
Yeah.
Because I think there's some people who are life coaching that shouldn't.
Amen.
Amen. I look at some people who are life coaches, and I'm looking at your life, and I'm just kind of like,
amen.
And I'm not even saying that you're bad. I'm not even saying that your life is terrible. I'm just saying, whoa, I know I would not be good as a real estate agent.
Right.
I would be good as a great person to reference you to a real estate agent.
Sure.
That's my job.
Yeah, that's called networking.
That's right.
Right.
Like, I know what I'm gifted at. I know what I'm good at. Okay. Keep going though.
Okay.
Using our gifts.
Yes. You use your gifts. If you're a speaker, right? You're a good speaker. Everybody's like, oh, wow, thanks. So great. Okay. Why not find a platform then for you to go speak? Did you know that a pastor has enough good things to say that they can say it to crowds that maybe are not Christians?
I did not know that.
So
no,
I used to, this is going to sound crazy, right? We finna get, y'all about to get a glimpse into Pastor West that even Isaiah don't even know. I used to be a guest speaker at Mary Kay conferences in South Texas.
No, you didn't.
There was like 30 or 40 women in this room, and they asked me to come and be a motivational speaker to these women who were at Mary Kay, and they're like, and I brought it, and I got paid for it. I only did it like 3 or 4 times, but it was the pay. But it was great.
But was the pay enough to bring in an income to start a storehouse?
That's not what we're talking about. This was a side hustle.
I know.
That's a great question. But as far as the side hustle went, I made like between $150 and $200 a time, and that was a lot back then. That was a lot. I also have done. So there's a couple Christian camps out here, and sometimes they put on their own camp, but they need a speaker for it. Right? Shout out Black Diamond Camp.
How did you go about reaching out to them? Or do they just reach out to you?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Sometimes you offer up your services, right? Sometimes you're like, hey, in case you guys ever need anybody, but you're selling yourself. You're putting your resume out there, your video resume. This is who I am. This is how I preach. This is what I do.
I never knew you did that with Mary Kay. What was your sales pitch? Or what, not your sales pitch, but what was your angle?
The angle was very simple. I could be a motivational speaker. Like, I can bring the principles of the Bible. Now, remember, Mary Kay's very, very Christian driven. It was in the beginning, very Christian driven. So they loved having young pastors or young people come out and be a motivational speaker. Absolutely. Same thing for Black Diamond Camps. I contacted them. They contacted me. Change of guard for the director of the camp and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ryan Sanchez. Great guy.
Yeah.
Fantastic guy. The whole group out at Black Diamond Camp. And so I've actually done their father-daughter retreat 2 or 3 years. Yes. And they pay you for it. It's a side income. It's a little stream of it. It's a trickle.
So what I'm hearing,
it's something.
What I'm hearing you say, Pastor West, is that there are definitely ways of making an income as a pastor. Here's a messy question. How come pastors aren't doing it?
You want the messy answer or you want a doctored answer?
I want both.
So the doctored answer is they don't know that they can do that. Okay. The messy answer is they think that they should have enough faith in it, or the church should be doing enough, or they get self-pity and, or maybe I'm just not good enough to, right? That's the messy answer. Like, we don't go out and hustle a little bit more because, and forgive me if this sounds crass. I know I've said it before a couple of times, but I'm going to keep saying it.
Okay.
Pastoring is hard.
Yeah.
It's not an easy job. It's not for the faint of heart.
No, sir.
And it's not for those who are going to get their feelings hurt the first time and turn away. Well, if your church isn't doing well and they suddenly can't pay you and you got to go find another stream of income, most people do what Peter did after Jesus was crucified. What did he do? He went back to what he knows.
Yeah.
Well, what did I know when I didn't take a salary from the church for a little while? I knew construction.
Yeah.
So I went and I worked construction. Right. I cleaned up crack houses in White Center. Mm-hmm. Right. We flipped out. I worked for a guy who was a house flipper. Right. I'd sling paint like the best of them. I can drywall a little bit. I can build a few things. I can certainly tear down some stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I went out and I made money. I went out and I hustled. I put my hands to work. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm older, I'm 46. I can still do all of those things, though. Honestly, I don't want to. I want to be able to put my brain in the things that I already know how to do. I want to put those things to work. So, you know what my side hustle is now?
What is? Oh, wait. I know. No, tell us what your side hustle is.
You want to know what my side hustle is now? I'm a substitute teacher. I sub in one of our school districts out here because A, there's such a teacher shortage.
Yeah.
And B, the culture in public school right now is so woke and broke that if we don't bring a little bit of light into the school districts, we're going to have a generation who absolutely knows nothing about God, nothing about truth, nothing about things that are real. And so there are days when I get to go and sub in a school and I get to bring the light of Jesus. And just like I think we mentioned in one of our previous episodes, I get to preach the gospel message in a school without ever using words because I'm there bringing Jesus to these kids and showing them that, like, hey, A, education can be fun.
Yeah.
But B, like, this world is okay. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right?
You said something that I thought was so good. You said that I don't want to, but you're also saying that you know that you can. So you know how to build. You've done construction. You're not afraid of the grunt work or the hard work.
Right.
You know that you could if you have to. But what I'm hearing you say is you're using wisdom by saying, I don't want to because I'm 46. Now I'm using my brain in this capacity. So here's a point. Here's an interrobang. Ha, I learned that one last season. Okay. I believe, and this is a question and statement, knowing what you are able to do in this season. Mm-hmm. So the statement is, know what you need to do in this season as a side hustle, as a side source of income. But now the question is, I think we need to know, how do you know what to do in this season? How do you know what you need to be doing and how to be actively? So like, my schedule is very set. Sunday to Thursday. Sunday's church, Mondays study, prep, Tuesday is staff meeting with my supervisor. You know, I get back into the back end of it, I'm still studying and prepping on top of all of my schoolwork that I'm doing.
Right.
Wednesday that's it.
Ready for youth.
That's youth.
You're on.
I don't go in until about 4 or 5 o'clock. I used to go in from 8 to 12 and then split. And then one day my supervisor was like, okay, Isaiah, you got to stop. Like, you got to rest because you're literally in here from 8 to 12 and then you go home and then you're back and then you're here. I'm the last one to leave. But once I pull into the church on Wednesday night and I'm downstairs, you don't see me again.
Right.
I come up, I see all the cars. I'm like, hey, everybody, how you doing? And then I come upstairs and it's 9 o'clock and nobody's there. And it's just me and my family and we're leaving with a couple key friends. Yeah. But that's just what we do. But it's realizing and knowing. The question is, do you believe and realize that? Because now you answered the question, people probably didn't know. That was the doctored answer. The messy answer is people feel like they should. But there is something profound about what you said, knowing what you can do in this season.
Right. Right. And every season is different. For a quick example, we're good on time.
Oh, we're way good.
For a quick example, I'm 46, right? Both my wife and I work full-time jobs.
Yeah.
We have a kid in college. We have our oldest is working her job, doing her thing. My 14-year-old is in high school, being a 14-year-old. So in this season, what am I looking at? Well, I don't need the money. I don't need the money to make our monthly bills. I have a job. My wife has a job. Actually, she makes more than me. So we don't need the money to make our monthly bills. So what am I preparing for? I'm preparing for my late 60s, early 70s.
Living in anticipation.
Now we're building wealth, and that's the word I'm going to use because that's the word the Bible uses.
Wealth.
We're building wealth for our retired years. So that way, when a loaf of bread costs $17, I can pay for it.
I hope it never gets to that.
I hope it never gets to that either. I will be breadless.
Oh,
I'm breadless now.
That might force the no carbs for me and you.
So then why the substitute teaching, Pastor Wes? Why the resources online? Why are you working with Fiverr to put things out? Why are you working on children's books? Why are you doing all the things that you do? Because later on in life, I still want the income to trickle through, and I'm getting ready for the next season, right? I would love for my daughter to never have to pay a penny of her college. Now she's going to have to because I can't, but if I can help in any way, shape or form, I would want to do that. Well, you can't do that if you're living paycheck to paycheck. You can't do that if you don't get out there and actually want to hustle a little bit. And yes, I said hustle, and I know that that's like a bad word in church, but the reality is, if we don't if we don't actually put our hands to work, if we don't put our feet to motion, then we're not promised anything.
I got a word. It's probably a cuss word. Work ethic.
Work ethic.
I think we need to have a work ethic.
Right, because there's a lot of folks who want to just point and shoot on a camera. You know, I mean, the work ethic of a young person right now, and I say this after having a conversation with a 17-year-old. Like, you're going to get out of high school. What do you want to do? I want to be a YouTuber. Sweet. Okay, cool. What programs do you know how to use? Well, what are you talking about? You got a video edit? Oh, no, I was just going to stream. Okay, what platform are you going to use? What are you talking about? And I'm like, your work ethic is poor. Like, you don't know what it takes to be a streamer on YouTube.
You don't even have any groundwork.
Again, all the gear, no idea, right? Like, he wants to have all the stuff, but he doesn't even know what it is he's putting his work into. And so with that mindset, yes, I agree. Work ethic is kind of a bad word. But listen, this is what Proverbs says. Right? Proverbs, the wisdom of Solomon, the second, maybe third wisest person to ever walk the face of the earth.
What chapter?
Okay. Proverbs chapter 10.
Okay.
Chapter 10, verse 4.
Okay.
Says this: lazy people are soon poor. Hard workers get wealth.
That's it.
Right? So why would I even engage in a side hustle? I'm trying to build wealth for my future, for my family. You know, Proverbs also says that a wise person leaves an inheritance for their children's children.
Yeah.
That's 2 generations away. And I can tell you right now, Pastor West doesn't have anything for his children's children right now. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm engaging in the side hustle. That's why I'm engaging in how many different trickle streams, because I'm not trying to flood the gates with YouTube. I'm not trying. Can you work on YouTube and monetize? Absolutely. There's parameters around it. Do you know what the parameters are? Oh, I don't know what the parameters are. Then how are you ever going to monetize your channel? You don't even know how many.
For example, like, you know, here we are. We're sitting here on YouTube, Pandora, Spotify. What was another one?
Amazon Music.
Amazon Music. Okay. So these platforms that these platforms that we're on, we're not sitting here all day doing this.
Right.
Me and you, we do some intentional follow-ups. Like, hey,
absolutely,
I'm looking at the schedule right now. Here's what I've got planned with Heather. Here's what I got planned. Okay. Right. And you're like, hey, here's what I got. But I've learned.
Yeah, I can cut out this much time.
This is what we got. And when we get in here, we record with an intentionality. We're not coming in here just randomly shooting from the hip. We've got a whole list of things. Mm-hmm. We sit, we talk, we plan, we strategize. Yeah. Now, this is not a side hustle for us, though.
No.
Like, we're not getting any payment for this.
Correct.
The coffee that is sponsored, we're not getting any income or revenue from that.
Right.
We just have a passion to talk about church, to talk about leadership, to talk about growing and becoming better.
Man. Yeah.
And so I do believe that a pastor should have a side hustle. I believe that if you could devote yourself, Jesus was a carpenter. Paul was a tent maker. Mm-hmm. These guys had jobs, yet still.
I mean, if you go into, we're not going to do it now, but if you even go into, I believe he was talking to the Corinthians, and he says basically, look, I'm out here working for my stuff, right? And I'm paying my own way because I don't want any of you to say that I'm preaching the gospel that you want because you're paying me.
Now, there were people who came alongside Paul that housed him and made sure he was good. Now, that's one thing.
Right.
But it's not like Paul showed up and was like, hey, here, give me this.
Right.
He was working his own way. So I believe it's important. And here's a couple reasons why I believe it's important. And I'll let you wrap it up and close us.
Okay. I got a few more scriptures. I'd love to just pull them out.
Pull them. Go
ahead.
I believe it's important for a pastor to show his congregation that he's not afraid of work.
Right.
And that he's not afraid of hard work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do yard work in my house. That's, you know,
right.
I actually wouldn't even want anybody to come in and cut my grass because that would take away from me, my manhood. That's just me, though. I really do.
Just like I don't want nobody else smoking my ribs either. So
you better not.
Mm-mm.
I'll spritz my own ribs. You better leave them alone.
Thank you.
But I do believe that there's something to be said about hard work. And,
yeah.
And I believe that, yes, I am living in faith off your obedience. That's my reality right now. But I also don't want to just fully leave it to that. I also believe that there needs to be that. But you got scriptures. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I do. So Proverbs chapter 12, verse 27 says very much the same thing. Lazy people don't even cook the game that they catch, but the diligent make use of everything that they find.
12:7.
12:27. 12:27. Now 13:4 says this: lazy people want much but get little, but those who work hard prosper. See, I mean, we're talking all of these different scriptures that are out here that are from Solomon, one of the wisest men to ever walk the face of the earth. Proverbs 21, verse 5 says this: good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. So I'm going to say this in closing. None of the things that we've suggested as side hustles are ever meant to be shortcuts to get rich. It's all something to supplement or bring in extra income, extra trickled income. And I will put a few more comments and quotes and links in the description. If you don't have an Etsy shop yet, try and make one, because if you're going to digitize things, you can sell them that way. Or you can also do it on buymeacoffee.com. Or
oh man, you know what? I'm sitting here thinking, I bought my wife a Cricut like 4 years ago.
Yeah. You could do that. You could put stuff on a cup.
You can go to Canva,
right?
You can get a Cricut.
Yep.
And you can begin to do little things for yourself. Mm-hmm. And then once you start making stickers, I think they're like, what, $5-10 for a couple thing of stickers. But if it's something cool, something catchy, you start wearing it or you start showing it, maybe you give it to somebody, man, you would be surprised the people that are looking for things like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like a Cricut machine, I bought Heather a Cricut machine 4 years ago on Black Friday. It was $250.
Yeah.
But that investment, so guess what? When she wants to do summer camp T-shirts for her team,
right
now her team, oh man, why didn't we get those shirts? Well, this is what Heather did for her team. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things where you can go, now wait, hold on. What was that reference that you gave? Proverbs, was it 22 or
21?
It was 21.
21:5.
Okay.
Proverbs 21:5, right?
Like
good planning, right? The
plans of a diligent. You got to be diligent.
Mm-hmm. That means you got to put in the work. That mean, and that's what you're saying. Like, so let's reference some of the bigger pastors out there, Furtick and Groeschel and even Pastor Jack, right?
Yes.
Didn't Pastor Jack write a book?
He's wrote many books.
Okay. That's an extra stream of income.
It is.
That's a side hustle. And let me tell you, writing a book is not easy.
And it's
not easy.
And let's talk about this for a second, because you look at Furtick and you mentioned Craig Groeschel. I think these are some of the greatest leaders that we're looking at right now. But these guys do the work.
I got some insight on Furtick that I don't think many people know, but I'm going to give it to you. It's a side hustle and nobody knows about it.
Oh,
here, go ahead.
His writing, he's also doing like the hype stuff right now. Mm-hmm. To me, it's like, and they're writing books, but this is time that they carve out, that they work hard at, which means early mornings, late nights. It's a sacrifice. But once again, what did we say? Knowing the season that you're in. What is the season that I'm in right now? Okay, so this is going to drop well before Christmas comes.
Yeah.
Start now.
Right.
If you want to have a great Christmas, if you want to start now.
Yeah.
Like there's little things that you can start doing. Mm-hmm. Shoot, Uber.
Right.
Or DoorDash,
right, or
something. I'm just saying, the opportunities are out there.
Yep, absolutely. The Furtick thing, real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. I think I'm done with my scripture, because I could go through Proverbs all day long when he talks about the lazy versus those who prosper. Furtick actually has done this thing that I don't know if many people know about. Brilliant thing, brilliant. He usually sits in on a lot of the writing of the music.
Yeah.
And if he's added anything to the song, he gets a byline in the credits.
No, yeah.
So then every time that song is played and Apple pays the group, he gets a portion of what gets paid to the group. That's brilliant.
Genius. To
just have your name as a byline on a song, because you were there to either help produce it or you wrote a word or two or three in it. Like that's beautiful. Well, right? It's brilliant.
And that's the season of that church.
Exactly.
Where they're pumping out music and they're writing it out. Think about the books. He hasn't released a book in a while.
Right. But he's got his name on hundreds of songs now because of what they've been doing in that season. And so it's very important that I want to bring this back around to this last point. Pastor, because this is what it's about. Should a pastor have a side hustle? So pastor, find what you do well and do it for other people, not just your church.
That's good.
Right? Use the things that you're good at, the resources that you're good at. Create resources for people. And you're not trying to get rich. Remember, you're not trying to get rich. You're just trying to bring knowledge to other people who may need it, and you have it. You have what they need. And so taking a few extra hours, it's going to be work. Okay. Because we have a lot out there to compete with. Church Fuel actually is one of them. I'll link it here. Church Fuel does a great job of just creating resources. You know who leads Church Fuel? That guy who leads Church Fuel, he was a pastor for about 12 to 15 years. And then he realized he could be more effective in teaching pastors the things that he knows about pastoring. So he's got an entire platform on that stuff. And now that's his main source of income, because he started with what he already did, what he already does. If you're a good researcher, like you're a researcher to preach your messages, why not help other people research things, right? You be a researcher, go and then just flood somebody with all of that information. Fiverr, Fiverr.com. It'll be in the description as well. You can be a researcher on Fiverr and actually get paid whatever your package is that you're going to get paid to. And again, it's just about trickling other streams of income in and not having to go and pass that darn real estate test. Like, if you can pass it, go for it. But man, just know you're about to work. And about to work for it. You're going to work for any of it, but
it's a competitive market.
It is. I mean, it could easily be oversaturated, just as many other things. I mean, we could say that about almost everything.
That's true.
But you know, the reality is, should we have a side hustle? Absolutely. But don't try and recreate the wheel, and don't overdo it and try and get rich off of it. It is a extra source of income.
Season 6, episode 5 comes to an end, but we're excited for episode 6.
Yes.
Are you teachable?
Are you teachable?
This is something that I can't wait to get into, because I think, a know-it-all doesn't grow at all.
That's right.
So I'm excited. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you go to the descriptions down below. You can find all of our tags and everything about us, what we're doing here. We love you. We don't know everything,
but we're willing to walk with you through anything.
See ya.
Love you guys.